Greetings, my fellow real estate investors and truth seekers. This is the Truth About Real Estate Investing show for Canadians. And if you're addicted to social media like I am, there's not a lot of good news out there in the community. It's not all bad. We just had Kelly Caldwell, Victoria Clooney, Melinda Simsek, Spencer and Ashley with their Airbnbs on the show. Zach Killams, whose company Front Lobby will thrive under this new government policy where tenants will be able to report their rent to their credit in order to build credit so they can afford houses. In general, those with healthier portfolios are that who are not over leveraged, who focused on cash flow and operational excellence, are doing just fine. Just like many past guests of the show, folks I mentioned, Kelly Caldwell, Victoria Clooney, Melissa Simsek, Spencer, and Ashley. List goes on and on. Speaking to just one investor, an investor realtor, who while preparing for this episode, who did exactly just that. His Burr portfolio is done just fine, very well, made millions. He's actually buying buildings now in Edmonton, and he just completed two flips in the U.S. Now, off the top of my head, I can think of two past guests who are in significant financial trouble, who've been on the show, as in their episodes are still aired. One has already declared bankruptcy. The other owes a lot of people a lot of money to individual investors, so they borrowed a lot of private funds, not just the banks. Individual, and the problem with lending to individual investors that you're not paying, they post to social media and tell others to warn them, and to call them out when they're not communicating. I know because I have friends pretty much in every community, and these messages arrive in my DMs. Um, both of the folks who were on my show who are in financial trouble right now, they made the switch to full-time investing within the last 5 years or so. I've left those episodes up because, as far as I know, there was no criminal intent, and nor had they been accused of any. I do run an investment business called I Win Real Estate, where we are always looking to learn, evolve, and adopt best practices to help our clients optimize their investments and time. Time is the only non-renewable resource. We started investing in single-family homes, then multifamily, then student rentals, then basement suite conversions, and then the really expensive garden and garage suite conversions, and it's just so unaffordable. We use AI throughout our businesses. I use ChatGPT to research case law when during a deal where I was acting as a realtor from the buy side, the sellers had accepted a higher competing offer when we had already accepted their counter offer to us. So my buying client had an executed agreement of purchase and sale, what most people call an offer. And when we were in disagreement between myself and the selling agent, I used ChatGPT to proofread my clauses for any counter offers, which saves me time. It saves everyone time. It saves my clients time, my lawyer, my broker. Time is always short in many transactions. I'm actually literally working on creating a digital duplicate version of myself, as I'm really busy booking calls to discuss USA investing. 80 to 90% of the questions are all the same, as in like, what is the legal structure to own US properties? We covered that in that episode we did with Carmen De Silva just recently. How do you get a mortgage? We've covered that. I don't know how many times we've on the show now. What are the fees like? I covered that literally every time, and it's all over the website, iwin.sharesfr.com, in case you're not familiar. It's all repetitive, and I can honestly have an AI twin version of myself do it. If you think I'm crazy about creating a digital version of myself, then please check out the founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman. He did a two-way interview between himself and his AI twin. I posted the link to the show notes. Again, Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn. He is, I think he's written about 3 or 7 books. He's got about 300 episodes of his podcast. All of it has been uploaded into an AI bot, and then that bot has as a visual version of itself, so he can actually have a conversation with his brain dump. It's really fascinating stuff. For me, I'm in sales and customer service, and if any of you are out there in sales or customer service, if you're not afraid for my job, if you're not afraid for your job, I'm afraid for my job. You don't need to be afraid for my job. I don't know what will make you afraid of losing your job based on the way AI is going, and it's still so early. This is one of the reasons, one of the many, many reasons why I diversify my business. This is why I use AI tools every day. And this is why it's so important to also own cash flowing hard assets such as real estate. The owner of Property Guys was just on BNN, and he was saying how he believes 25% of realtors in the USA will leave the industry after those historic lawsuit settlements that happened recently. This August, in the States, listings will no longer display cooperating commission for buying agents. Hence, buying agents will have to negotiate their own commissions from the buyer. The property guy owner mentioned that there are two lawsuits currently in the works in Canada right now, which only confirms the rumors that I've heard. Um, yeah, the implication is that the public will be more aware that realtor commissions are negotiable, even though they always have been, in my experience. And sellers who want top dollar for selling will continue to offer cooperating commission because that's how it works in today's market. Most of the professional investors that do it, they've been on the show and they shared how they offer cooperating commission. I do it on my own listings. I actually typically I offer above market cooperating commission, and I use it as a marketing and negotiation tool. It has worked for me. My last four houses I sold of my own. We did so with an average of 22 days on market. The point is, I'm a realtor. Uh, I've worried about my job since 2010, ever since I've had this role as a realtor. Never have I been more worried with AI, class action lawsuits, and competition among realtors. As the number of realtors in Toronto, for example, has never been higher. If only we had as many doctors as we do realtors. Imagine how good our healthcare would be. Nurses too, teachers too. Now, for complete business and investment sense, I, of course, partnered with Share, a tech-enabled asset manager that allows Canadians to be US landlords without all the heavy lifting. My 17 listeners know I've conducted well over 300 hour-long interviews on this show with successful and some no longer successful real estate investors uh, who work, invest blood, sweat, and tears. In terms of cash flow and overall returns to effort, I haven't seen anything as good. And again, this is my experience. Maybe you've seen something better, but I haven't seen anything that beats Share's offering. Hence, I am a customer of Share as well. In short, I've seen how top investors implement their real estate investment businesses and can separate hype from results. Those with results did not over leverage, like I mentioned earlier. They were in control the whole time. They delivered operationally to renovate and rent as fast as they could. Those who didn't are the ones who are making headlines in the news and declaring bankruptcy protection or bankruptcy, or have their names dragged through Facebook groups or for owing money. I had a call with a newer investor who's got a great investment property in BC. She Airbnbs the triplex in the summer months, then rents to students the rest of this for the school year. That's investing on steroids as far as I'm concerned. And she's rewarded with a very nice six-figure rental income every year. Now, the investor asked why I call long-term single-family rentals boring. To me, it's not exciting. I get excited about real estate investing, but to me, it's not. It's largely passive compared to everything that's out there. There's nothing innovative about owning a house and renting it out. uh, and versus what gets all the attention and likes on social media, all this like OPM, investing with other people's money, buying with zero down. And note how many of those influencers are still advertising such courses. Many of those influencers have gone quiet or done major pivots. The crazy thing is that some of them who are still pushing this message, they have many bankrupt clients. So it's interesting that they would continue to push the strategy and model. It's sad. I know one big time condo agent appears to have pivoted to coaching realtors, which is going to be really tough in this market. Transaction volume is way down. I don't know how things really improve ever again, especially in the investment side. Are my clients and I are investing in as passive as possible, and we've done this quite well. in Ontario and Canada. My clientele is generally west of Toronto. Our biggest challenge is under-rented properties right now, as in because of rent control, our rents haven't aged well over the long term, but we've done amazing on market appreciation. Now compare that to Airbnb in the summer, where uh, this newer investor I was talking about, she does all the client interaction and she only outsources the maintenance and cleaning of the property to a property manager for 10% property management fees. Airbnb is an active business. It's a customer service, hospitality business, service business. And then again, for the school year, she rents out her student rentals, rents out the rest of the property as student rental. And in my experience, that's a niche investment that is much more challenging to insure, get insurance for, to find property managers for. And generally, you're getting expensive financing because generally no A lender wants that mortgage. That's my experience for the markets I operate in. My last student rental mortgage was with Home Trust, and it was over 8% interest plus a 1% lender fee. So compare that to any Schedule A mortgage, that is significantly more expensive. Again, a wonderful business for someone who wants to be active, someone who doesn't have a lot of commitments or has a lot of free time, probably works from home. Just be prepared for plans B and C and D should the municipality turn against student rentals or Airbnb. Just last week, 10,000 protesters in Barcelona took to the streets. Some of them were even using water guns to shoot at tourists. The mayor of Barcelona is banning 10,000 Airbnbs by, I think, 2028 or 2026, pretty soon. This makes me think that I need to buy some shares in hotel stocks. I've posted a link in the show notes to the Barcelona protests. In my city, the city of Hamilton, it's implemented rental licensing in the student neighborhoods with plans to expand across the entire city. And our mayor, Andrew Horwath, is the former NDP leader. To conform to licensing, it's going to cost some landlords, including myself, a couple $1,000s in order to comply upfront. And the ongoing fees for my properties will be somewhere around $600 to $700. Uh, Thankfully, I've sold a bunch of those properties, uh, and especially the student rentals, and I'm grateful to have done so. As I look out the office in my window and I see there's been tons and tons of rain. We just had a major rain and flood situation in Ontario and the GTA. I have a couple of friends who've got flooded basements. Toronto got hit pretty bad. Point is, there's flooded basements all over the province, and there's plenty of investors out there already who don't need this. The widespread flooding event will push up our insurance rates yet again. So expect more housing cost inflation that we cannot pass on to the tenant in this rent-controlled environment. As someone who despises risk, I've removed a bunch of basement flood risks by divesting my local houses and investing in houses in the USA that don't have basements. I'm advising friends, family, and clients to not invest in suiting their basements, as to me, it makes more financial business sense to use those funds to buy a house in the States. To close on the house in San Antonio that we have tied up, I need 97,000 US. I actually don't even need it all up front. Some of that money's earmarked for later renovations after the tenant moves out. But again, 97,000 US for me to cash the close on a 2,000 square foot house in San Antonio, Texas. Then that amount also includes a $3,500 reserve fund just to be held by share. Now, a typical basement apartment conversion is about 160,000 Canadian. And in my experience, it'll take you somewhere around 6 months, depending on the municipality. Milena Simsek, who is on the show, who is a Windsor expert, says that it takes a lot longer than that, to execute in Windsor. So, want to just keep your investing as easy and pain-free as possible and invest in municipalities, areas that actually want investment and landlords. Yeah. So my San Antonio tenants are renting that house back from me. So I have zero vacancy up front. Versus again, a basement apartment, you should expect several months of vacancy. And again, I'm deferring renovations till after they move out, which I hope is never. Again, that's different than for most Canadian landlords. I want my tenants to stay in Texas versus I want my tenants to leave here locally in Ontario. so I can raise the rents. Texas has no rent control. Uh, Only in colder climates do we need weight basements. The whole point of the basement is to build the foundation below the frost line to prevent heaving. That same problem doesn't exist in southern USA, making housing a lot less expensive to build. And I won't have a basement to waterproof versus I've waterproofed at least two of my basements already locally. And I'm working on another one right now, which is going to cost me somewhere around $4,000 to $6,000, which I'm getting off pretty light because it's a small area. So, point is, uh, risk on a Southern USA property is a lot less than that of a local property that has a basement. Uh, and then I'll never have to waterproof a house in the States. And I can avoid flooding if I simply avoid coastal areas like a Houston, like Florida, and I can reduce my flooding risk even more. Now, even if you wanted to buy a turnkey duplex in Hamilton, Barrie, Oshawa, Ottawa, I've lumped all those cities together because prices and rents are pretty similar there. I've calculated the capitalization rate. So I've been asked for this for a couple times and I did never had it handy. So capitalization rate, that is your net operating income. So your rent minus operating expenses divided by the price of the property. So again, a duplex in Hamilton, Barrie, Oshawa, Ottawa, roughly around 4.1%. Now compare that to what my clients are getting, low 5 to mid 7 cap rates in the USA. So significantly better numbers and opportunity to cash flow. My own property is a 5.1% cap rate. So again, my single family home is significantly better, almost 25% better than a local duplex that used to be widely considered the best practice for investing locally. The numbers don't lie. The laws are landlord friendly in landlord-friendly USA. There's no rent control, and it's commercial style mortgages in the States, even though there are residential properties. Versus for us Canadian investors, here it's you have to qualify personally. I make way more commission selling Canadian property than an American one, uh, but I think asking my past clients, I'm interested in their best interests. Hence, I'm recommending to them U.S. investments over Canadian ones, especially considering how pretty much every investor in Canada is heavily focused. If you look at their real estate holdings, it's almost entirely Canadian. Their income is almost entirely Canadian. So diversification and cash flow reasons, it makes plain sense to own some U.S. income properties. The truth is, again, it's also way easier to sell U.S. income properties. I've sold way more U.S. income properties this year than Canadian ones. Never in my career since 2010 as a realtor have I seen so little interest by investors to buy local income properties. Ask anyone who's got properties to sell, they'll tell you the exact same thing. And the crazy thing is, the timing is extremely ideal to be buying right now, both in Canada and the US. I do truly worry for my fellow real estate professionals and realtors and mortgage agents. There's a lot of them already, and if they make a living focusing on selling local real estate investments and they're not able to sell US investments, I won't be surprised to see many of them leave the industry. Again, based on the opportunities that Sharon and I can present to people, based on AI, based on there's just really too many people as realtors and mortgage people. And again, there's two lawsuits in the works right now, likely for Ontario and BC. So to me, it's all a matter of education before investing in the USA via share by Canadians is the norm. I honestly love my work. Share is the partner every lazy investor like me is looking for, except they don't. And then the nice thing is they don't take any equity in the investment. Control and ownership remains 100% mine and Sherry's. I'm going to record a video actually comparing a new condo investment versus a duplex versus my client's property. My client from Montreal, he's never even seen the house, and he's got a 7.6 cap rate that only cost him about 160,000 Canadian, and it rents for about 1,400 Canadian. I converted the American dollars to Canadian just to make things easy. Uh, Hopefully I'll have it soon, and this link will be in the show notes. There is no guest this week. Maybe I should have mentioned that sooner. I literally had invited a former coach of a now defunct real estate university, a quote unquote university, as they invest big. They're nice people, but their name is now being blasted on social media for not making payments on their private loans that they owed people. The coach didn't respond, which never happens, as gurus generally love coming on my show. This isn't an indictment on the coach investor. If they can survive, they will come out likely a winner. Even if they don't, I believe them to be talented and they will come back in something else. Personally, I don't like my investments to be a roller coaster, hence I choose boring. I call it boring, as personally I don't have thick skin to tell people I've lost their money or can't pay them back. Maybe that's just me. The world does need more crazies or self-declared crazies like the Steve Jobs, the Elon Musks. I just know that I'm not one of them, hence I stay in my boring lane. But I do have equity in share. I try to be fully transparent about my financial interests in the company, and I have some say in the company's direction as head of business development for Canada. And I don't see a more efficient path to um, to my company's 10-year goal. I still have a 10-year goal. I want to help 200 Canadians become real estate millionaires. Right now, I'm about 45 or so, and that number keeps growing. And I can see it in my mind's eye. 10 years from now, I'll be enjoying golf and dinner with 200 real estate millionaires, clients of mine who've gained a lot of financial peace via their boring real estate investments. I can't wait, and I'm totally enjoying this journey. Again, website if you'd like to learn more information what my clients and I are doing, iwin.sharesfr.com. Uh, and from there, you can book a Zoom call. We're actually going to take that away soon. We're going to start driving folks back to webinars. Uh, they'll be free education. Um, in message to my past clients, I'm always down for a coffee, dessert, breakfast, lunch, dinner, or golf. You know where to find me. And hope you enjoyed the show. Take care. That's the truth about real estate investing. And again, I can't repeat this enough. We're going to make real estate investing great again. Unfortunately, Canada has not made us feel so welcome here. Hence, we're going to Landlord-Friendly USA. All right, peace. Have a great week, everyone. We'll be back next week with another awesome guest.
Thank you for watching. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate from scratch, my team teaches beginners how to use the #1 investment strategy that I personally use in a virtual free training class every month. Go to investortraining.ca/YouTube to register for our next class. The link's also in the description as well. I publish at least 2 to 3 videos a week here, so subscribe if you want to keep learning from seasoned investors like myself and my guests. And if you're just starting out, feel free to ask questions and comment below, and I do the best to answer each of those comments and questions myself. Again, if you're ready to learn the nitty-gritty about real estate investing from a professional investor, register for our next virtual class. That's at investortraining.ca/YouTube. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video.